right now. They're fitting him with his harness and helmet. He may have to go in and finish the day for Tony Stewart.
Darrell, Tony has a lower back injury from the crash at Darlington. He was lapping Buckshot Jones, got spun into the wall, but what really hurt him was Jimmy Spencer rushed headlong into the right front, and Stewart's got a lot of pain in his lower back. And how will that especially affect him at this track?
Well, even when you don't have a lower back injury, that's just something that bothers you in a long race like this. You're pounding down in that seat. It's hard on your kidneys. It's hard on your lower back. So if he's already started with that irritated, that's going to hurt him. And like I said, this is the long enough green period now where if you're going to have a problem, you're going to know it now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. now 0.7 of a second ahead of Tony Stewart.
Jimmy Booth.
We're under caution. Last year's winner will not repeat. Elliott Sadler has been crashed. Pit stops. Under caution. Earnhardt Jr. on the back, and Stewart leads him in on the front. Dick?
Well, just a moment ago, crew chief Greg Zimbinelli came on the radio and asked Tony Stewart if he could make it all the way. He said there's 150 laps. There was silence from the driver's compartment. Stewart still in the race car. Come on.
4-tire change for Jimmy Spencer. No adjustments.
Earnhardt Jr. again wins the race off pit road, followed by Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, and Jeff Burton.
And we've got oil all the way around this speedway now.
It happened in the backstretch. Somebody got in the back of Elliott Sadler. I believe it was Kyle Petty.
A lot of times that left front corner, that's where you run your oil cooler. And he broke the oil cooler, broke the line off the oil cooler, and he strung oil all the way around the racetrack.
See, he was trying to get his lap back right there in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Of course, tires flat, oil's leaking out. He slams the inside wall here. Just about gets it.
Now Steve Park reacting. There's all the smoke ahead, and he gets into the back of Robbie Gordon. And around Gordon goes.
There's hardly any single car accidents.
Speed in front of you, Robbie. Speed in front of you. Here it goes. Stay high. Stay high. Watch your back. Come on. Come on. One car behind you.
Darrell, that's what you said at the top of your day. You got to drive behind you as well as in front of you.
Go.
On board Sadler.
Hold on to it. Hold on to it. All right. Go hard and get it straight. Go hard. Go hard, man. Leader's still behind you. You can fire it up. Side of you now is the leader. Go hard. Go hard.
Trying to stay on the lead lap. Just wouldn't steer. Caution out for the 11th time this afternoon at Bristol. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, presented by UPS.
NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by UPS, is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers.
150 laps to go. This is the 11th caution flag of the day. 20 is the record. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitted, and he said, boys, I really like the way this car is handling. All they did was change tires, no chassis adjustments, no air pressure adjustments, and he said, I've been running this car hard. Jeff Hammond.
Steve, one of the things that some of the guys were concerned about, and I talked to them this morning about this new pit road rule, is that the pit that Dale Earnhardt happens to be in, which is pit number 23 on the backstretch, may actually be the best pit now. In years past, being in pit number 1 was always the best at Bristol. But because of the new rules, that was one of the major concerns. On the other side of the deal, a lot of the guys who wanted to pick that pit were not allowed to by NASCAR. If you qualified in the top 22, you had to pick on the front stretch. So it's very interesting how things are kind of playing out here today.
Jeff, you know, I remember when we had to pick a pit on the back straightaway, we liked that pit because it's like being in the first one on this side and there was nobody in your way and you could just shoot out of the pit, come around that corner and be hauling the mail.
Yeah, and you know, it's you got to give NASCAR credit for trying to make things better. It's not a disadvantage right now to be on the back stretch, but it makes you wonder if all of a sudden the advantage of having a front stretch pit and being in pit number 1 is what it used to be.
So working under caution as they put Speedy Dry down on the track, blew the track, and continuing to clean up from Elliott Sadler's car, which brought out the 11th caution. You look at Tony Stewart in 3rd place. This caution will allow him a bit of a rest, but Dick Berggren, give us an update.
I'm going to let crew chief Greg Zipadelli do that. Can Tony make it all the way, Greg?
I don't know. His back's really bothering him right now, but this kid's done a great job. Home Depot Pontiac's been running good. Guys in the pits have done a great job keeping us up front, and, you know, my hat's off to them. We'll keep our fingers crossed and say our prayers. This kid's tough. To get him this far here with 150 to go is as bad as he's hurting. We're proud of him. We'll just keep working him, keep talking to him, trying to keep coaching him, and keep it off his mind.
They've told him drink as much fluid as he possibly can. He's got a device that helps his back a little bit. They've told him turn it up as high as he can stand it. Will he make it? I'm telling you what, I've been listening to him. He is in serious pain. Tony Stewart in trouble.
I tell you, one of the real losers on this last round of pit stop, Jerry Nadeau. He went from 6th to 14th, but we want to look at it here. What this is the time was spent on pit road. Tony Stewart, 29.7. Jerry Nadeau, 37.1. But the difference was in that pit stop right there, 20.9 to Tony Stewart's 14.3. That's over 5 seconds. Matt Yoakum, they had to have had a problem.
Well, Larry Mack, the problem they had actually, when the stop was completed, Jerry dropped the clutch and thought he was going to pull forward. Actually, he started to back up. He grabbed the wrong gear. He grabbed reverse instead of first. DW, that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah, it's easy to do. You're sitting there and you're kind of juking a thing around that's in neutral, and you slam it up in gear and you got it in reverse and you don't know it. Rather embarrassed.
Jeremy Mayfield was the big gainer. He went from 14th to 6th on that round of pit stops. We're under caution. We'll be right back.
Welcome back live to Bristol, Tennessee. Let's take a look at Stacy Compton, one of the early casualties here on this tough track. Johnny Benson, this was the 6th caution with a little bump from Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon led for a while, but spun out on lap 158. And then Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart with a little tap. Newman coming in 2nd in points. His first time racing here in Bristol as a Winston Cup driver. And then again, after Jeff Burton tapped him, spinning out. And then moments ago, Elliott Sadler, who won this race last year, suffering a break in the oil line and currently out of the race, and hoping to bring him back as he is working on his car. His crew is in the pits. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get Chevy its first victory of the year. You're watching NASCAR Winston Cup racing on Fox, presented by UPS. A lot more to go, so stick around. We're live in Bristol, Tennessee.
NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by UPS, is brought to you by Ford. No boundaries. By Radio Shack. You've got questions. We've got answers. By new Lotrimin Ultra, the only once-a-day cure for athlete's foot. And by your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven.
Back under green at lap 360. Sterling Marlin had restarted on the tail end of the lead lap because he did not pit under the caution. Remember, he cut a tire and got 2 tires under green, but with only 2 fresh tires, he could not hold off Dale Earnhardt Jr. And now our point leader Marlin has gone 1 lap down.
Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has a cushion of 3 cars. It's a lap down in between him and Kurt Busch.
All right. Middle 1 and 2.
Just follow up a little bit more on Tony Stewart. I'm sure he has a tinge unit in there to
Well, Tony Stewart spins off turn 2.
He's around.
Keeps it off the wall.
No. Wow.
Everybody gets by him. Caution is out for the 12th time.
He was headed back up that racetrack with 2/3 of the field coming at him.
I was just going to say he had a tinge unit in there to kind of exercise those back muscles. May have turned it up too much. Sterling didn't get his lap back, did he?
Neither did Robbie Gordon or Bill Elliott. They took the caution flag before they got by him. Pace car picks him up here in turn 4.
Also in the seat, we got what we call a lumbar support. It's a little airbag that we can pump up and down, even for I think Bodine looks like he might be getting ready to hop in this thing.
Todd Bodine has a foot up on the pit wall. if Tony Stewart comes onto pit road, if he comes onto pit road for relief.
See, the last time would have been a better time to do it because he was at the front of the field. Now he's at the back of the field. He's barely going to get down pit road before he even gets out of the car and the pace car will go back.
And it takes 53 seconds for the pace car to make a complete lap here under caution. But like you say, Darrell, he's given up half the racetrack just because of where he's at.
Yeah,
Stewart's in. No one else pits.
It's going to be a tough deal because it's going to be hard for Tony to jump. He can't jump out of the car. And I don't even know if Todd's been in this car, has he?
But what he has to do, Darrell, he has to be unbuckled, wind the net down, everything but the steering wheel off when he gets to those pits. Help those guys all he can. And what will help here, there's not a right side window in the right side, so someone can go in that right side to help get Todd Bodine buckled in.
Still going to be pretty hard to pull that
there
off.
Goes the window net down. And Stewart's in. Off goes the steering wheel. And look, they're not even going to let Todd climb in. They're going to shovel him in.
That's the best way to do it because you can stick him through the window that way.
Yep.
You got to help Tony out.
It'd be much easier to sit him down in there and him try to climb in there.
Exactly.
Now, what I noticed about Todd Bodine, he's using the Hutchins device, head neck restraint, a lot like you see on the back of Tony Stewart here. Normally, Todd Bodine runs the Hans device much quicker to get that Hutchins device hooked in than the Hans device. And both of them are good devices.
Well, that gives you an idea of how sore Tony Stewart must be. It's been a long time since we've seen him climb out of a race car.
Boy, it's going to be close. He's going to make it. Look at that. They did it.
They're going to stay on the lead lap. That's what happened to Stewart. And everybody just gets by him. Tony Stewart out of the car. Todd Bodine in relief. And they stay on the lead lap. They've got to fix that window net. We'll be back. In one lap, we'll be racing. This morning, Tony Stewart's team prepared for this possibility, fitting Todd Bodine for the car and getting him in there to see how the seat and the belts and everything that were adjusted for Tony Stewart would fit Todd if he had to climb in there quickly.
Yeah, that's a question I had. You know, when did he get in the car? I knew he had to have been in the car at some point in time, but I didn't know if they made that decision this morning or not, Jeff.
Yeah, this morning I happened to be down there when they brought him over, and the thing about it, Greg Zipadelli said, hey, we're adapting and improvising in case we have to have this happen, because Tony was tightening up after practice sessions, and they felt like during long cautions, this may be a problem.
Now they'll miss this green flag. No, they're going to
they waved it off. They waved it off.
Waved off the restart as Bodine brings the car down pit road.
You can see there, everybody was doubled up, ready to go, but for some reason they waved it off.
And you know, Todd Bodine has always been one of the innovators and promoters of safety. So there's something in that race car, whether it's the belts or something he don't feel good about, that he's coming back to pit road.
I don't know if he missed his pit or maybe, you know, maybe did he speed down pit road? What's going on here?
Got a drive-through penalty for speed.
Drive-through. I think that's what happened.
Yep.
That was a question I had. He hadn't been in the car, no pit stop. I know it's probably on the dashboard what the tax is for a 30-mile-an-hour RPM, but buddy, unless you practice it, it's a long way around here to the first time.
We're still going to be one to go this time.
Jeff?
Well, the one thing, guys, I want to point out, they knew they had to work with the driver, get him in and out, and do some more things in the car. So speeding down pit road may have been a good call on Greg Zipadelli's part to give him more time to work with the driver, to work on the car and get him comfortable, because you knew you're going to be at the back end of the lead lap cars. I mean, he's 20th, but he still has an opportunity right now to move up and keep these guys up in the point hunt on behalf of Tony Stewart. I mean, I don't think it's a bad